Hello, my kinder and first leaders. Welcome. Today we are talking about love and continuing on that beautiful story and word that we call love. And so this is all about how God has loved us throughout the ages or throughout the Bible. And so we learned the past couple weeks about creation and Adam and Eve. And this week we're talking about how God chose and brought out Abram, or as he'll later become Abraham. And so this beautiful story of love is all showing about how we can let that others matter to us. And so as we understand the word love and how it's all about showing others that they matter, right? Then we can also understand love and how God showed us that he loves us. And that's all through this one big, beautiful story. And so today we are talking about Abram and how God calls him. This first activity though, you are making a watercolor heart and you have an activity page that goes along with that. So pull out that activity page, look over that and see how you can make those watercolor hearts. And remember that a little bit of water goes a long way with that one. And that's of course going back to love, right? We're showing that it's all about the heart, it's all about the heart of what God has done. And so then the second activity, we're diving a little bit more in to the story and how Abram had to move away, right? And so this one, they're actually pretending that they're going to be on an island and that they can only take 3 things with them on this island. And so as they do this, have them go ahead and write down or draw a picture of what they would bring. And you can do about 3 things or whatever, and then have them not show the other kids just because you're going to put them all together at the end and see if there's anything that they missed. And so, I mean, they can miss anything from food, clothing, maybe their Bibles or some sort of survival stuff, right? So there's a lot of things that they can probably miss when they are thinking about moving to an island. But as they do that, we're going to be learning about in large group how a man was called to move his whole tribe, his whole family, just because God asked him to. And so he had to pack up all of his stuff and move wherever God told him to go. And so that's just getting them in that mindset of that. And so that's going to be Abram and his story and how he and his family moved away because God asked him to. Then you're going to break down that story a little bit. And so we have some Bible story pictures that you guys can fold and put in little envelopes. And with that, it's going to be, you can have them laid around the room. And what you do is basically you're going to walk around the room like they're kind of going on an expedition. And as you do that, they're going to pull out one of the envelopes and you can have them numbered if you want to do them in order, or you can mix them up and then try to put them in order later, up to you, however you want to do that. But with that, you have like Cain and Abel, Noah, the big question mark of when God made his promise and they were kind of confused on what that looked like. Then Abraham and Sarai leaving. And so there's a lot of different pictures and they're all listed for you in that guide. But what they're doing is you're kind of walking them through the whole story again and doing it in a physical way where they can really kind of picture or pretend that they are on the journey. And so as they do that, go through that whole story. And there's little things that you can go along with that as well, and little parts that you can talk about if you want to as well on there. And so that'll be really fun. Then as you go around this heart and you do, and you go through that whole story, right, then definitely bring it back to God has a plan to show love to the world, right? And so as you do it, if you want to do it, you can also make a big heart on the concrete and like with painter's tape, and then you can place the envelopes around that to have another visual of God's heart and God's love for us, right? And so it just confirms that God has a big story for us and it's all about love. And so have them walk through that. That's gonna be really fun. Then this next one, what you're going to do is it's a memory verse activity. So go ahead and have a volunteer or you open to that 1 John 4:10 verse. Now, I know you might not have a lot of readers in there yet, and that's okay. If you do have the first graders and they are able to kind of pick up a couple of those words, then pull out those Bibles and look for it themselves too. Go ahead and use the Bibles that we have. You can even turn to the same page if you use those and stuff like that and read it together. But as you do it, what you're going to do is you're going to have them all stand up and you can have some hearts placed around the room, like on the floor or something like that. And these hearts, what you're going to do is you're going to review the verse at first before you do any of that. And then when you go into the verse, talk about how every time you say the word love or loved, they have to go stand by one of the hearts. And when you don't say that word, then they can just walk around a little bit, okay? And so as they're doing it, they're engaging their brains and their activities, getting that oxygen flowing. But every time that you say the word love, which it's in the verse a lot, then they have to run to one of those hearts and stand near one of those hearts, okay? And again, it's just that beautiful Bible verse of how God has loved us so much. Then with the prayer activity, go ahead and gather them all around and ask them if there's anything that they're worried about or if they feel like someone doesn't love them. And let's talk about and encourage them that God loves them no matter what, right? And how we can do that is just by praying for them and praying that love over them as well. And so have them go ahead and share prayer requests. If you want, you can even keep a journal, right? Write down prayer requests, keep it from week to week, and that way it's just always coming up, and they know that you remember, right? Even their little things like my pet died or my pet's not feeling good and stuff like that. But that means a lot to a kid, right? And then this last activity after prayer, you have some story starter pictures, and that's the activity page. And what you're going to do with that is each kid will get one, and then you can create a story together through those pictures. Okay, so have them go through the story together, and then each kid goes and then they do their part of the story. And once it gets back to you, you guys can wrap it up with the end of the story, and that's it for this week. Thank you guys so much for all that you guys do. I'm so excited to have you guys at the leadership training today as well. See you guys there.